Hello, my name is Sherry Holmes, and I thought today, based off of a lot of questions that I get, we could do a video versus the glamour and the grind with some of our television series. You've seen a lot of them on HGTV, and so there's always something that everyone refers to as like HGTV magic or the television magic. And that's when you're going to see the direct result of all of the work that we put into this job site. So you see the finished state, and it all happens within an hour television show. So what is that, like 48 minutes of screen time. So there's a lot more that goes into our jobs, and I wanted to address some of those questions that I get, and maybe some things that have you been considering or thinking about when you watch some of our series. We, generally speaking, have about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks per job. We also film more than one at a time, so generally that's going to be about 3 different jobs at once. And as one of the television hosts, myself, my brother, my father, we jump between all the different jobs. So we are constantly on the move and doing the different jobs at once. However, that being said, it looks so much more simple than it is. What you see as the finished product is not everything that we've put into it. We have a constant construction crew on each site. Now they jump back and forth too, but we do work with the most amazing trades, and they are trades that we would recommend and we have worked with for years, most of them. And they really help us get done what we need to do, and we wouldn't be able to finish half of these shows without them. But a lot of the stuff that we've always preached on the show, and my dad as well, it's been hire the right contractor for the right job or the right trade. So I am not a bricklayer. If we need someone who lays brick, we hire the correct trade for that. We want the best for our job sites. But behind everything that you see is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this job. Before we even begin filming, we scout the project first. So once you, as the viewer, submit your story and it is something that hits what the network has been looking for or what we're looking for as a television show, and those kinds of criterias, we can then go in and inspect the job. So for instance, to explain that, when we were filming Holmes Inspection is a different show than Make It Right or Homes and Homes or Homes on Homes. I know there's a ton of home shows, but for Homes Inspections, we were just looking for inspection jobs. So your house had to have been a mistake based off of a home inspector. So you would have to meet that criteria. And then when it comes to the network, they're gonna want a difference in shows. So if we just did 5 shows in a row about garages, that's going to get a little bit boring. So there is an aspect that we have to meet with that, but I digress. So anyway, getting back into our jobs, once we scout your home and it's obviously a fit, we're going to do it. We have inspectors come to inspect the problems. We then have a few other people who we work with. They'll come in, including our production coordinator and our production management teams, and they will come in and they'll assess the job. We start right away. There's measurements taken. We know what we need to order because, again, we have to be on top of everything. We have to apply for permits, and then we have to know what we're doing in advance. Because we are only slotted so long to finish these jobs, we then need to be organized enough to have it finished in this time. On any given job site, there can be a number of different things that occur and a lot of problems. We've had a lot of setbacks with permits. Now, permits are something you have to apply for when you're doing a job, and we want to make sure that everything we do is done correctly and done right. And so we've had jobs lined up and ready to go. We've pre-ordered some of the material we're using, whether that be kitchens or for plumbing. We've set and booked our trades, and then we don't have a permit. So we actually can't start any construction whatsoever, even start demo. And those are always kind of frustrating because you have a timeline set and you are not able to go. We also have some crazy hours sometimes in order to meet these timelines. So for instance, New Orleans, Homes in New Orleans, I'm not sure who's seen that and who hasn't. It was my very first job site. I was 21 years old, and we started it was 3 years after Hurricane Katrina, well, just about 3 years. And it was so hot that we'd have to start working super early in the morning, which is fine. Like, we were definitely working by 6, 7 in the morning. And working until nighttime because, again, it was a timeline that you had to meet. We had to work really hard, but it's also, you're so hot, you can actually get more done if you just wake up earlier and stay a little bit later. We don't usually have time to take a full lunch. And I mean, I have a hard time eating a huge lunch and getting back to work. I have things I need to do. And I can't do that if my tummy is full and upset. So I like to try to keep it as light as possible. That way I can keep running and keep up with everything that we need to do. I think also as a host, it can be a lot because I'm not just doing construction work. I can't just be in a bad mood, or I can't just not want to talk on camera, or feel uncomfortable with a situation. Like I have to always keep going. So if I'm not feeling well, I still have to work. There are really no sick days. I can probably count the amount of days I've had to take off work, and that's generally if something's wrong with my children. But otherwise, it can be a taxing job. It's an amazing job, so don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining by any means, but there's a lot that goes in with it. So we usually say it's the early bird gets the nail, but there's also a midday marathon. So I think in everyone's day-to-day operation, I suppose, you kind of hit that slump and you're tired, and it would be nice to just, get home and relax. But we are constantly running. We have multiple trades, so we're working on top of each other, but we really do have to stay organized. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get this done in time. A lot of the times we are working outside of work hours, or your regular work hours, which again, I'm not complaining about, but you have to be able to just pivot at a moment's notice, especially like what if we order something that's not going to be there in time, or what if the homeowners need to be back in their house by a specific date, and we have to work within those terms. So for instance, I have a project coming up and I leave on a Sunday, so I have to be prepared and set up for the week leading up to it. So that's always going to be after work because I do have kids. I have to make sure I'm there for them. I pick them up, make them dinner, all of those things. And then my time to plan out another project is going to be in between like bedtime and whenever I go to sleep, because I need time to kind of focus and put myself together and build up what we're going to be organized for the next week. So so that being said, there are a lot of unseen hours that go into the show. A lot of planning that has to be done. There's a lot of heads that come together to make sure that we're not missing anything. And also, we're all pretty opinionated, so we have thoughts and feelings about what we want to see happen on the job site. So if there's something I don't like, and maybe it's already been ordered, I'm probably gonna voice that and say, hey, I don't know if I really feel like that's something that we should be using on this job, or I don't agree with this or the way this was done. We do have to express that to each other, and that's going to be not on television. So there's a lot that goes into it outside of film. A lot also goes into material. We want to make sure, again, that we're organized and our projects have to look as amazing as they function. So we do work with a designer, Kimberly Capone, generally on every single job. Mostly there are some that she's not been on, and that's kind of when the design falls more in my lap, which I do like. It's something I've been exploring a little bit more, and it's nice to do something different and outside of what I do on a daily basis. But generally we're working with Kimberly, and we have to make sure that we source the materials properly, our finishes, that make sure our kitchen makes sense, the layout makes sense before we can really get started on anything else. What do we need for construction? What do we need when we're framing a wall? We have to make sure that all of those are ordered and on site on time so that we can keep the ball rolling and make our schedule. I love my job, and I always have it. I love that I can be someone who can push the trades and try to get some youth involved in the trades, try to inspire other women to get involved in working with the trades. It's not something that I always aspired to do, but I'm really happy with the platform that I have and the opportunity I have to do that. So with that comes things that maybe I wasn't always on board with or comfortable with, and that does take a toll. I am generally not an overly outspoken person. I mean, I can be, but not on television, not with cameras in your face. So it is there, like I've said, there's a lot that goes into it, and it does take its toll. When we're setting up for a job and we're doing something new, I'm not much of a sleeper. So you are sacrificing sleep hours to make sure that you're doing things properly, that you're on your game, you're on top of everything. I wish that wasn't the case, but I think for a lot of people, when you have a lot of big jobs going on, that's something that happens with us. I've definitely had to miss family events. I've had to come home from vacation or book time off because I don't really get the same vacation that I'm sure a lot of people do. And it's not necessarily that I'm not forcing it, but you also want to, I want to make sure people are getting their homes on time and getting to live in their spaces. And I can't just take time off so that they are sacrificing their time. That's not fair. So I feel like we do, a lot of us do sacrifice our own personal time in order to make that happen. And we take turns for sure to make sure that there's things that are going on. I have my daughter's birthday coming up soon, and I made sure that I booked that day off because I need to be around for it. I need to be home. I'm doing a lot of travel for work. So that one specific day, I'm like, I'm not missing my daughter's birthday. There's some other things that I will miss, I'll sacrifice, but those are one of those things that I just can't. But when that comes, my dad will step in for me, my brother will step up for me, and vice versa. We just kind of mix and match and make things work. And same with our construction crew. We just are really there for each other. We're a big family at the end of the day, and we make whatever we have to work. We also get asked a lot about budgets on our timeline. So when it comes to the television show, we do get an amount from a network in order to work within, but then we also have really close and amazing trades that work with us and either donate time, they'll donate materials, a lot of different partners that we have want to donate their product in order to help get these families into their home and what they deserve. There's a lot of emotional aspect that comes into our jobs as well. We do get to meet these families. It's not all done up for TV. You have an emotional connection. We come in, we meet them before we start the job site. We also know their backstory. I know how many kids they have, what their kids have been going through, or any other problems or trauma they've incurred in their life. And we really do get the most amazing feeling by getting to feel like you're turning their lives around and really helping them somewhere they're struggling and probably could never be without having us there. Whether that's financially, some other kind of unfortunate event that has occurred in their life. But we do develop this kind of relationship and bond, and we do have homeowners that we still keep in contact with. And we try our best, obviously, to talk to everyone we can when we're not filming, which it's not very often. I had mentioned that we're normally filming different shows at a time, but it's also different series. So like I said, there's a lot of different home shows. There's also a lot that goes on at the same time. Right now, I am filming 2. I think the most we've done is probably 3 or 4 at a time. And then we're also balancing some other jobs at the same time. So it does get really busy. It can take a toll on us as well. You get to meet the most amazing people and the most deserving people. And when you meet people who really deserve your help, and you just know that there's someone special, it makes you want to go the extra mile for them.